Alright everyone, welcome back to the games. Can you believe it's already day 2? Yesterday was absolutely insane, but today we are taking things to a whole new level. Look around you. There are still so many players left in this competition, but that is all about to change. Today's game is called the Nets game, and it is designed to test your timing, your speed, and your courage. The rules seem simple, but trust me, this is going to be one of the toughest challenges you will ever face. The energy here is electric, and you can see the mix of excitement and fear on everyone's faces. So here's how the Nets game works. In front of you is a long, narrow track. Your goal is to get from this side all the way to the other side. Sounds easy, right? Well, not so fast. There is a giant heavy rope, which we are calling the net, that will swing back and forth across the entire track. It moves like a giant pendulum. If that rope hits you, even just a little bit, you are out of the game. No second chances. You have to run when it's safe and stop when it's not. It's all about timing. As the guards explained the rules, you could feel the mood change. The initial excitement started to fade, replaced by a quiet, nervous energy. Players started looking at the track, then at the giant rope, and then at each other. Whispers broke out across the crowd.
How fast does it move?
Do we all go at once? The confusion was real. No one wanted to be the first person to try. Everyone was waiting for someone else to make the first move, hoping to learn from their success, or, more likely, their failure. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. This game isn't just about being fast, it's a mind game. You have to be brave enough to run when there's an opening, but smart enough to know when to wait. The prize money is on the line, and for these players, it could change their lives forever. But first, they have to survive the Nets game. The horn is about to sound, signaling the start of the challenge. Who will be brave enough to go first, and who will be the first one to get knocked out? Let's find out. The starting horn blared, and a wave of panic washed over the players. For a few long seconds, absolutely no one moved. Everyone just stared at the huge rope as it began its slow, steady swing across the track. It was like a giant silent monster waking up. Then, one player at the very front, number 112, decided to make a run for it.
I'm going for it!
He sprinted onto the track. He was fast, really fast, and for a moment it looked like he might actually make it all the way across in one go. But the rope was faster. It swung back with incredible speed. Number 112 saw it coming and tried to stop, but it was too late. The heavy rope slammed into him, knocking him off his feet and sending him flying off the track. A loud buzzer sounded and a guard immediately escorted him away. He was out. Seeing the first player get eliminated so easily sent a shockwave through the crowd.
Whoa, did you see that? There's no way, it's too fast.
The reality of the game had just hit them, hard. Suddenly, the strategy changed. No one was thinking about making a solo run anymore. A small group of players huddled together, trying to come up with a plan. Okay, we have to go in waves. We run when the rope swings away and we stop in the middle when it comes back. It sounded like a good idea, but it required trust. Could they really count on each other?
No way. It's every person for themselves. You're just trying to use us as shields.
The argument showed just how desperate everyone was. Some players started pushing others forward, trying to force them onto the track to test the timing of the rope. It was complete chaos. Fights were breaking out before the game had even truly begun. In the middle of all the shoving, a small group of about 10 players saw their chance. While everyone else was distracted, they made a break for it, running onto the track together as the rope swung away from them. This was their moment. The small group, led by Glenn, ran onto the track. They moved as one unit, their eyes glued to the swinging rope. Okay, run now. They sprinted across the first half of the track as the rope swung to the far side. And stop! They all froze in the middle of the track, pressing themselves flat to the ground as the massive rope whistled just inches over their heads. It was an incredible move, and it worked. The players at the starting line gasped, realizing that teamwork might actually be the key to winning this. Inspired by their success, more players surged onto the track. But this new wave wasn't as organized, it was a mad dash, a jumble of panicked people all running at once. This is exactly what player 301, the guy who didn't want to cooperate, had been waiting for. He waited for a large crowd to get onto the track, and then he suddenly tripped the player running next to him. The player fell, creating a domino effect that took down 3 other people. The swinging rope came back and wiped them all out in one clean sweep. It was a dirty trick, but it worked for him. Glenn and his small group watched the chaos from their safe spot. They realized they had to keep moving. Okay, on my count, get ready. 3, 2, 1, go! They jumped to their feet and sprinted for the finish line as the rope began its swing back. One of the players in his group, a young woman, stumbled. For a split second it looked like she was going to be another victim. But Glenn, who was just ahead of her, reached back and grabbed her hand, pulling her forward just as the rope swept past where she had been. That single act of kindness seemed to change the atmosphere. Other players started helping each other instead of just looking out for themselves.
Here, let me help you up.
But the game was still brutal. For every person who was helped, 5 more were knocked down by the relentless swinging of the rope. The group of hundreds of players was shrinking fast. The track was now a mix of brave sprints, terrifying tumbles, and small moments of teamwork in a sea of competition. Only the quickest and the luckiest would survive. The minutes ticked by, feeling like hours. The track that was once packed with hundreds of hopeful players was now mostly empty. The swinging rope never stopped its steady, unforgiving rhythm. With every pass it seemed to claim another victim. The pile of eliminated players grew larger and larger. The few who remained on the track were either incredibly lucky or incredibly skilled. They had learned the timing of the rope, finding the perfect moments to run, and the safest places to hide. The initial noise and chaos had faded, replaced by a tense silence, broken only by the sound of the rope cutting through the air. Glenn and the player he had helped, number 142, finally leaped across the finish line. They collapsed onto the ground, breathing heavily. They had made it. They looked back at the track and saw only a handful of others making their way across. Player 301, the trickster, was one of them. He used another player as a human shield to make his final dash, barely diving across the line just in time. In the end, out of the hundreds who started the Nets game, only 20 players successfully made it to the other side. The game was over. The 20 survivors looked at each other. They were all covered in dirt and sweat, their bodies aching from the stress and exertion. They were strangers just a short while ago, but now they shared a bond that no one else could understand. They had survived. They saw the guards escorting the massive group of eliminated players out of the arena, their dreams of winning the prize money gone. A feeling of relief washed over the survivors, but it was mixed with a deep sense of exhaustion and a growing dread for what was to come. As the sun began to set, the guards led the remaining players back to their dormitory. There was no celebration, no cheering. Everyone was too tired and too nervous. They knew that surviving one day only meant they had to face another, even harder challenge tomorrow. Glenn looked around at the 19 other faces. Who could he trust? Who would be his friend and who would be his enemy in the next game? As they walked, a single thought was on everyone's mind. This was far from over. The games had only just begun.